Hey everyone. So this is actually going to be a reading for Friday the 13th. I'm really excited because historically Friday the 13th has gotten a bad reputation, whether it's through stereotypes, whether it's through superstitions, what have you. But 13 is a wonderful number involving spiritual growth and transformation. And as someone who named their practice Rebel Crow readings. Crows are also a symbol of transformation, and they represent the facilitator between the earthly realm and the spiritual realm and sending messages. And I've just always resonated with them. So today is very exciting. Also, really quick plug, this is not mine, but I gotta show some love. So if you're not familiar with tarot reader Peter, awesome spiritualist, very intuitive. I've gotten a couple of services from him. He's based out of New York, so if you give him a follow, that'd be awesome. And he came up with this Witches Live Forever sweatshirt. Let me see if I can show you the back really quick. Kinda. I'm gonna post this in the caption below, description below, just because I always like to share the love. I don't believe in competition. I feel like we can all be successful. So I just had to put that plug in because I also just found this shirt. I don't know if anyone can relate to that in terms of ADHD, where you like bury things for however long and then you find them when you're cleaning, and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a gift to myself. But yeah, so this is a shirt. If you want to, great. If not, no pressure at all. But I just wanted to throw that quick plug in. If you're new here, welcome. If you have been with me for the past couple of videos, what is up, my guys? I'm just very grateful for you. Just even like come hang out. So we're gonna do a sound cleansing very quickly. So bear with me. You're not gonna hear it. We're gonna get a microphone soon. Eventually. I don't know when, but we're gonna do it, okay? Alrighty. Cool. So this is gonna be a general reading for Friday the 13th, okay? And we are going to call upon our ancestors, our angels, our spirit guides, whoever it is that helps us to feel divinely protected in this moment. Any negativity, any wandering entities, anything like that are not welcome here. Any evil eye, any monitoring spirits, you gotta go. You can't hang out, okay? So let's see what we get for our Friday the 13th reading. Let's see what we get, okay? Okay. What do we need to know for today on this day of transformation? The Hanged Man. How fitting. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me just put this deck down really quickly. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get there. Sorry. All right. So we're gonna read the energy and the symbolism behind the card. Okay. So with this specific card, it has to do with surrendering, almost kind of like radical acceptance, letting go a little bit, changing our perspective, like literally, like we're flipping our world upside down, but intentionally, right? And with this, I want to also include transformation. So this type of transformation is like very similar to enlightenment, almost kind of like your own personal period of renaissance, if that makes sense. So when I got this card, the energy that I immediately picked up on is someone who is doing a lot of spiritual work as well as facing their shadows. So this is someone who's kind of like walked through the fire, intentionally burned themselves just to ensure that they're not making the same mistakes over again. Okay. So this is almost kind of like a spiritual reframing, if you will. So whoever this is for, because it's a general reading, whoever this is for, they experienced something that was potentially life altering. So this could have been like a significant life event that really opened their eyes to the reality of the world. It could have been something to do with like family planning or realizing their like perspective on family planning. This could have been someone who something happened financially. Something could have happened financially that opened their eyes to the realities of the world. Okay. So when I say financially, I want to say like you might have had all right, take this with a grain of salt, right? You might have had like a more like newer perspective surrounding finances. This could have been like a blockage. Like when you were growing up, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that saying, like, money is the root of all evil. That's what I'm getting for some reason with this card. So you have come to terms with the reality that money isn't good or bad. It's necessary. It's a vehicle to get you to that next stage of transformation. So this is also someone who maybe felt discouraged to take certain opportunities because as a major arcana card, this is like major life events, right? But the energy that I'm getting here is very much somebody who might have felt comfortable where they were at. So it's similar to when someone goes to school for like I don't know, like teaching, right? Someone goes to school for teaching and they go through the nooks and crannies and they're navigating the field with that degree. And then something might have happened that like really put things into perspective for them. And after that, they were like, all right, something's got to change here. Almost kind of like a intuitive download or perspective shift, right? So maybe you felt like unworthy of certain opportunities. This kind of makes me think about when we're like right out of school and we have imposter syndrome, right? Like we went through the training, we did the school, we have the knowledge, but we don't feel valuable enough for specific opportunities that will help us to get to an easier place, right? So that's kind of the energy that I'm getting here. This is basically like someone who would drive to job interviews and turn back around because they didn't feel worthy of those opportunities, right? But this is not that same energy. This is someone who is like, you know what? Nah, like I'm gonna rep my set and I'm deserving of these. I'm deserving of these opportunities. I'm deserving of that transformation into the next stage, right? Let's get a little bit more clarity on this. I think that's beautiful. That's the card that we got for Friday the 13th. I think that's epic. So again, with like the hangman, that's like intentionally surrendering, kind of like trusting the universe a little bit. Um, let's see what else we get. Let's get a clarifier. Okay. Y'all. Okay. All right. We got the devil in reverse. Okay. So when I get a card in reverse, normally I like to interpret it both ways automatically, but the fact that this was intentionally coming out in reverse, I think that's very, very telling. Okay, so when it comes to the devil card in general, this has to do with challenging our addictive tendencies or behaviors, right? So, in the upright position, if you look at the energy and the symbolism of the card, you got a man and a woman who are chained up below the symbol, right? But if you, I don't even know if you can see, the chains are very loose, right? It's almost kind of like when you put a like piece of rope on a horse and it's they could basically just like rip it apart and like sprint off into the distance if they really felt like it, right? So in the upright position, this is asking you to challenge. self-destructive behavior. It's asking you to challenge giving your power away, right? So the fact that we pulled this in the reverse, my guys, this is basically saying that you're done with that. You're done engaging in this self-destructive behavior. You're done letting the escapism take over in your subconscious that's fueling these addictive tendencies. You're basically saying, like, no, no, no. I am in charge of my life and my decisions are going to be intentional, right? So, in the upright position, this makes me feel like someone who is on autopilot, someone who is just going through the motions, and they're kind of just like sleepwalking through their own life, right? And when you like look into this card deeper, this is like the dark side of the lover's card. Okay. So this could also involve like codependency tendencies. If you remember one of the videos that we talked about, we touched on like attachment styles. So in the upright position, this is basically like you allowing, not allowing, but like you engaging in subconscious behavioral patterns and not checking them and not like realizing, oh wait, why am I doing this? Why am I picking fights with my partner? Why am I allowing for life circumstances to get me out of character, right? So in the reverse, you're not doing that no more, right? You're saying like, I don't need to pick up the bottle. I don't need to like talk to people who are emotionally unavailable. I'm going to pour into someone who pours into me, right? And I think this is a beautiful, beautiful card to get on Friday the 13th, guys. Like the significance here is insane. Okay. So just really quick, kind of like bridging the gap between the cards that we got so far, you had a intentional specific paradigm shift in your mindset and how you're navigating your life. Whatever it was that you went through set you up for this specific perspective change. And then because of that perspective change, you are taking back your power. You're basically saying, like, I'm not doing this going through the motions and nonsense anymore. I think that's amazing. Okay. Let's see. One more. Sorry, I get hype, guys. Okay, hold on. Let's get one more clarifier. Let's see. What do we get? What do we get? That's awesome. That's really cool. I'm a nerd if you couldn't tell already. So, all right, what do we get? Bruh. Okay, guys, guys. Okay. All right. I don't know if it's because it's Friday, but I'm on some extra stuff today. All right, so we got the lovers card. So, okay, I'm actually gonna like blur the giblets because I mean, I don't think YouTube would care, but just in case we have like some sensitive souls out there. Okay, so with the lovers card, in terms of the energy and the symbolism, this is like a newfound love. So it could be like a newfound self-love. It could be a new perspective on love or relationships. Okay. So also, can we just talk about how we got all major arcana cards? I think that is very telling for Friday the 13th. Okay, I'm gonna pull this back because then that way maybe you can't see it as much. All right, we're a little bit blurred. Okay. Cover the giblets. Okay. All right, so with the lovers card, this also has to do with our sexuality, like how we show up in the world, our sense of passion. So if y'all remember one of my previous videos, your girl's a hopeless romantic, okay? So the fact that we got the lovers card on Friday the 13th, a day of spiritual significance when it comes to transformation, and during Pride Month, guys. Okay, so this could also be maybe someone coming into their sexuality or like their sexual empowerment. This doesn't necessarily like have to be like, oh, like someone's like coming out of the closet or like owning who they are. It could be again, like if that resonates, take what resonates and then leave the rest behind. This might not be for you, right? But in this context of transformation, you might be tapping into those subconscious limiting beliefs that held you back in terms of your sexuality. Okay. So when I think about the lover's card in this context and in the form of the energy, right? This might be someone who growing up, they might have been in like a hyper religious household or like a very conservative household, and they were basically told that certain things are not okay and they internalize that, right? So this is someone who is doing a lot of growing up in terms of owning their own mental perspectives and beliefs, okay? So oftentimes what tends to happen if we have like a meshment within families, it's basically like if mom's not okay, no one's okay in the house. If mom believes that people on the like sexuality scale of like more like leaning more like gay, lesbian, trans, like LGBTQ plus are horrible people, right? Then that's what everyone needs to believe, right? So this is basically saying like we're not subscribing to that crap. We're not believing that anymore. Whatever it was that made you feel bad about yourself in terms of sexuality or owning your divine sexuality, you're basically saying like, not today. We're not doing that. We're not taking that forward, right? And I think that's also very telling, given that we had like this last full moon like a couple days ago, right? So let's bridge these guys together, okay? So in terms of major themes for Friday the 13th, okay, I want you to think about that intentional paradigm shift, that perspective shift, letting go and trusting the universe, right? So if you've had issues with control, if you've had issues with anxiety, feeling like you have to like be on top of everything, that's changing, right? Like you're still gonna like prepare and whatnot, right? But you're putting less emphasis on the little details, right? You're basically just like going to be intentional with how you're going to navigate your perspectives moving forward, and you're just like, all right, whatever happens, happens. And I trust that I'm going to be okay. All right. The devil in reverse, you are taking back your power, dude. Like you are saying, like, no, no, no. I'm not doing this sleepwalking through life thing. I'm not escaping anymore. I'm going to face life head on. And that is such a beautiful perspective to have, given that you're like, all right, yeah, no, dude, I'm going to like radically accept that this is what it is. I'm not going to like live in Delulu land. Don't get me wrong. There are periods where like sometimes we got to be intentionally delusional, right? Just to kind of like get through it. I get that. I'm not, bashing that. But you're saying like no more, taking back my power. And then with the lovers card, right? Like this could be you owning your sexuality, like this could be you engaging in more self-love, right? Like because when we think about relationships, they're mirrors, right? So, like, we are usually trying to find someone that is either similar to us or the complete opposite. And oftentimes, we're looking for certain qualities that maybe we might not have or we want to have, and we see that in other people, right? So, the lover's card in this context, you're basically saying, like, the love that I'm looking for others, like I've always had. I've been the love that I've been seeking in other people, right? And this could also be like new love opportunities. Like this has been a theme. There's been like the Two of Cups that's been showing up. We've had the Four of Cups where the energy was like emotional fulfillment opportunities left and right. So you're basically saying like, okay, like, hey, listen, I'm surrendering. I'm just gonna trust the universe. I'm not doing no codependency, no addictive behaviors, not giving away my power anymore. I'm staying within my boundaries. And you're also having a new perspective involving love and relationships. And if this was like a wound that has happened like prior to today's reading, you're healing that. You're healing that in real time, right? Um, I just think that's wonderful. I think that's really cool. I'm flabbergasted that this is the pull that we got for today in terms of spiritual transformation. Um, and then this also kind of like okay, I got like a thought just now. This could also be like universal love in the form of like the collective, right? When we think about everything that's going on, oftentimes when there's conflict, ego's involved. So to drop your ego and say, okay, like I'm going to meet individuals with compassion, love, and patience, now that's enlightenment. That's enlightenment. Now again, I'm not going to get into the whole like pacifism, like turn the other cheek perspective, because I don't necessarily subscribe to that. But when it comes to accountability, boundaries, and standing your ground, listen, there's a reason it's called gentle love and tough love for a reason. They're both, you can't have one without the other, right? So that compassion, but with boundaries. The unconditional love, but with the understanding that there's parameters behind that, right? It's unconditional as long as we're following the rules of engagement, right? Because I think this goes back to the like the Disney complex where it's like I could do anything to you and it's okay. Nope, nope. Toxic mindset. In terms of human behavior, like, are we gonna see some interesting stuff? Yes. Do you have to tolerate it? No, right? At any point when people discuss like a like love or healing or anything like that, not to be cliche, but the whole like hurt people, that's like legit, right? Like it's real because oftentimes you are not aware of your own behavioral patterns that are contributing to not only your unhappiness, but how it's impacting other people's. Because again, in terms of like relationship, you got to relate to the other person, right? And this kind of goes back to we didn't talk about this yet, but the hyper individualism that stems from being in the United States. Okay. The reason why there's hyper individualism is because we have that hustle culture. We have that succeed at all costs, even if you got to like step on people. And that's also why I don't believe in competing with people because we can all win. Hence why I shouted out my boy Tara Reader Peter, right? Because at any point, right, what you might be lacking in, someone else might thrive, and that's okay, right? Um, but I'm going on a tangent now. I apologize. I had too much coffee. But besides that, quick recap once more. You had a crazy, crazy perspective shift. You're surrendering to the universe. You're basically saying, like, all right, I trust you. Radical acceptance, and we're gonna see what happens. You're not giving your power away no more. You breaking away from those chains of codependency. You're breaking away from the escapism. I freaking love that for you. And then also, you're engaging in a lot more self love. You are allowing for opportunities involving relationships or love. And then this also could be a sexuality card, right? If this applies to you and it resonates in the sense of like owning your sexuality, and again, I want to be cognizant that some people do not have emotionally safe places to come out. But if this is in reference of like coming out and owning your sexuality, having that support system is going to very much benefit you. Okay. It could be online. You could like look for local nonprofits that contribute and help with those who are feeling unsupported, right? For that sense of community. So, all in all, right? Something happened that changed your perspective. You're taking back your power and you're opening yourself up for love in all aspects. And I think that's wonderful. Okay. So if you enjoyed today's reading, let me know. I'm always open for feedback. Um, I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. If you stayed for the whole thing, I appreciate you. If you stop by, you're also awesome. And I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this. And as always, you are divinely protected, and I will see you next time. Okay? Happy Friday the 13th.